looked up a study that was done, and Rhode Island, I believe, is I can't remember if it was in the top 10. We spoke about this last week, but $100, across the United States equals $101.25 here in Rhode Island.
Oh, at least, yeah, sure. And that's all across. These are old examples. Forgive me, but I think you'll grasp it. The index here, I believe, was 92 back in the late 90s. Mm-hmm. Okay, and San Francisco was 154, and I believe New York City was 244. Mm-hmm. So the example was if you had $30,000 and you lived in San Francisco, obviously you're poor.
Yep.
But if you had moved here, it'd be worth $46,500.
Absolutely.
Et cetera. Or if you had moved to New York, forget it. You don't even show up.
Yeah.
And so, and it makes sense to me because I used to have, roommates 10 years out of college, and they 3 guys 10 years out of college, and they were roommates, mm-hmm. all making $80,000, $90,000 a year. I'm like, how does this work?
Yeah.
I'm living in Rhode Island. I went 6 years with no pay, my first job,
Risk,
just to build Feroce Size Optical, which you all might still know is around. Great,
your brother's company, right?
Yeah, great business. And it was just it's just the way you kind of approach things, but it means a lot. Rhode Island has huge opportunities, but you need big thinkers. And I'm going to tell you, I search for peers. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's a struggle. I need to get peers that think big like I do.
So again, like when you're talking about recruiting peers, you mean people that think pretty much like you, right? That can act in your shoes if you're kind of out of town or away to make the decisions that you'd make?
Well, that within my own company, for sure. I mean, that's just a technique and tactics that I like to employ. Mm-hmm. Others do the opposite. I've never really understood that. But I'm talking, overall peers within, in my case, an executive group and so forth, where we align our efforts. Like, mm-hmm. how big do you want to grow your company, or what are you trying to do, or do we need an airport? Why do we need it, right? But where are you flying to? Okay, I'm flying to Dallas. I fly to Atlanta. Okay, let's get an airline in here that flies to Dallas and Atlanta. They'll just get an airline. If they don't know what I'm doing, mm-hmm. if you're, think about government, right? Mm-hmm. And fortunately, I have good relationships with folks and so forth, but I try and constantly educate them. Mm-hmm. But there's really no formal process. There should be a formal process, right?
Yeah.
Be it surveys or some sort of outreach or, monthly or quarterly meeting that allows me to inform you of my efforts,
sure.
so that you can allow it to grow properly. And again, I say me in the moment, but obviously we're talking about a number of different people that impact the economy and locally. But all of us contributing that information can give you the best guidance. I mean, look at the link in Warwick, right? I've never used that. Yet I fly out of Boston often because I have to go cross country.
Yeah,
I've never used it. Yeah. Think about it.
That's crazy. I mean, I like that idea of having like a formal process, or maybe I don't want to say a networking event, like a brainstorm. Have some of your biggest shakers and movers, a summit. And
they have it, but what happens is, unfortunately, I've been to a couple of them. They kind of just highlight there's no segue from local infrastructure to what I'm discussing, which is creating commerce that allows for our businesses to sell our wares around the world.
Yes.
That allows us to grow in big ways. Mm-hmm. They talk about, infrastructure, it blurs the lines. We're talking, little things at times, and that's not what those moments should be for. You should probably grab the top 25 income producers and up-and-comers and then brainstorm. Tell them what you're doing. Look at my 5-year plan. Sign an NDA. By the way, that's the story, and I know we're limited here, so I'll be brief. But I am part of the master classes as a fellow at the Wharton School, University of Pennsylvania, and we get together about 2-3 times a year, and we get the behind-the-scenes look in major cities. So in about a week and a half, I'll be in Singapore.
Yep.
Right.
Well.
But other times, let's say San Francisco, good example for everybody to understand. I'm signing NDAs. I'm seeing the 5-year plan for Facebook. I'm looking and seeing what HP is going to do, what Samsung has going on. You'd be shocked if you don't think you can order Chinese food on a TV. Then you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
Because that's where everything's going, and yet you get the insight. And we should do the same thing here.
Yeah, I agree. NDA, non-disclosure agreement.
Yes.
All right, we do a lot of acronyms on the show, like FHA, like VA, all these different acronyms. acronyms. So, yeah, Giovanni, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Every time I watch like one of your interviews or your videos or something, I learn a lot, and appreciate everything you're doing here for Rhode Island, and you taking the time to come on the show to talk with us and our listeners today. Thank you, and keep up the great work.
Well, I thank you for having me. Thank you for being a contributor, not only to the moment, but overall. I see what you're doing as a businessman, and I appreciate that, you and your team.
Thank you.
And thank you for having me.